How's it going, everyone? I wanted to do a quick video going over kind of a hot topic nowadays, which is the hobby positivity versus the quote unquote hobby negativity crowd. Now, a lot of you probably saw this recent kind of back and forth with Sports Card Radio and Chasing Cardboard, where, if you're not familiar with it, real briefly, Chasing Cardboard had listed a rock auto that has been determined to likely be fake, but they were selling the card. The buyer of that card essentially sent it off, like a screenshot to BGS. They said it was unlikely to authenticate. And then after the buyer didn't pay and sent them that evidence, they canceled the sale, but then they just immediately relisted it. Then Sports Card Radio essentially reached out to them and said, hey, what's the deal here? They pulled the card again, but then went on a big rant of how hobby negativity is affecting, the space. And the guy Ty over at Chasing Cardboard had said, this is a big problem where we have all this hobby negativity. But I wanted to bring up this recent event, right? Because it's been something that's been on my mind for quite some time. You've got two camps of people. You have the hobby positivity people, which really is only a term that came about because those people labeled another group of people the hobby negativity crowd, right? Neither of these terms existed before people came out. Jeff Wilson started calling people negative and you're a negative influence on the hobby as opposed to being positive. So what does that really mean? I guess really what they're trying to say there is, instead of speaking like everything is flowers and sunshine, they're pointing out scams and scandals, fake autographs, or trimmed cards, or shady breakers, or something like that. So that's apparently hobby negativity. But on the flip side, these guys that are talking about cards increasing in value, cards are worth all this money, and look at these auction sales, and I bought this card for a bunch of money, and I purchased this collection, and now I'm going to make this amount of money. That's somehow positive content. So I wanted to pose the question to everyone here: is that actually positive content? Or are they labeling other people as negative so that nobody really looks at that side of it? That's what I've always found questionable. Do you all feel that bringing hobby positivity goes hand in hand with talking about how much money cards are worth? We all know that cards are worth money, whether it's 50 cents or $50,000 plus, right? Cards have value, and that's great. During the pandemic, during the boom, all these guys were talking about all these cards that were going up in value and how this is such a great thing. Those guys were not talking about the fact that, hey, this is likely not going to last. Either A, they didn't know, or B, they just wanted to stay naive to the issue at hand. So were those people actually being positive in that they were promoting what essentially we know now is a card boom? Was that positive content? And they continue to do it today. They continue to show us all the cards that are worth all this money and all, the auctions that have gone for record prices, even though we see a lot less of them. I will say that a lot of them have switched over to being more collector friendly, talking about collector content, etc. The group of people that they've actually labeled as negative, that have been exposing scams and scandals and whatnot, well, some of that stuff is a little outlandish, I will agree. There's probably something to say about how you collect data for your point of view, if you're collecting data at all, or you're just looking at a video and then making a story post on Instagram, oh, everything's crashing and burning. There's levels to this, and there's probably right and wrong ways to do it. Well, what I'm really trying to get at here is back, when we're talking about all these cards increasing in value, you should go buy cards now and invest in cards. In my personal opinion, those videos and those points of views and just that general sentiment cause some damage to the hobby. They can't really even touch anything that these guys that are calling out fake cards, trim cards, what have you, could ever possibly do. So we have to take a step back and just question the motives of what these people that are labeling the opposite side of the fence, what are their motives? They make money off of YouTube. They make money off of appearances. They make money off of joining forces with the companies that are selling us the product, which there's nothing wrong with inherently. But it seems like a lot of times they're going to come out and defend themselves without any real data to back it up just based on their word itself. And they're going to sit on a couch or sit on a log or whatever, and they're going to tell us how negativity is ruining the hobby. Well, maybe actually you got to turn the camera on yourself and realize that maybe you were part of the problem that's led to all this hobby negativity content, right? If things had grown organically, I just don't really see a lot of that hobby negativity label being put on people, because there would have been this natural flow of cards increasing in value instead of this crazy boom that happened. And yes, I understand there's a lot of economic factors involved and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not saying that it's solely all their fault, but they definitely add fuel to the fire. We can say that for sure. So how do we get away from this? How do we handle this the right way? How do we handle fake cards, trim cards being called out, or fake autographs, or shady breakers and all that kind of stuff? Well, first of all, just be straightforward and honest. Don't beat around the bush. I'm going to give you an example here. Nat Turner, he had this Michael Jordan card, and people were looking at it and go, oh, look, there's a piece missing from the card. How did this get a PSA 10? And this was a big deal for like a day. What he did was he basically just said, I got the card back. We busted it out of the case. We realized it was just a piece of like the sticker coating or whatever that had stuck to the card. Here it is. He showed a couple pictures of it. Done deal. He's just straightforward. He's honest with people. He just gets to the point. And then you're through it. You have to make a video sitting on your couch talking about, oh, people just want to be negative. You just answer the question. You just be straightforward and honest about it. You don't sit there and try to deflect. You just present valid data and you move on. And that's what a lot of these guys don't want to do. So why do we have to have these two groups in the first place? Can't we just have more of a community of people? Hey, I'm pointing out that this auto might be fake. And then you have somebody that goes, yeah, you know what? I'm going to pull all these autos until I know for sure that they're real. I'm going to just tackle this stuff head on. Just get ahead of it. Go ahead and do your due diligence and just move forward with your life. Don't try to deflect. Don't put ego into the equation. I see a lot of these guys that just are answering based purely on their ego. Like, oh, I couldn't be wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. I couldn't be wrong. It seems like they forget common sense at that point, to where let's just do the right thing, and they just try to defend their ego. But anyway, I'm probably rambling a little bit, so I'm going to wrap this up. But let me know your guys' thoughts. Is the positivity crowd actually the negativity crowd, all things said and done? What do you guys think? I don't know. I just think that, it's kind of silly overall. I think we should all be exposing fake cards. We should all be exposing fake autographs or shady breakers, or even Fanatics or Panini when they're doing something wrong. We should all call it out, and we should force those companies and those individuals to come forward and just basically be straightforward and honest with people and just do the right thing. That's really what it comes down to. We don't have to have these two sides of the fence. It's just kind of ridiculous. So thanks for listening. I will be coming out with another Mail and Hobby Talk episode here soon, so stay tuned, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I will catch you on the next one.